Hey, everybody. Welcome to Flash Fried. It's the night of the VP debate. We asked our patrons in a poll which one they would prefer us to cover. Would they rather us do Flash Fried as normal, or would they rather us cover the VP debate? And thankfully, thank God, they told us to do Flash Fried, because I don't think I could have sat through another one of those fucking debates.
When Scotty brought this up yesterday, I was like, because I knew that, like, I had a feeling people were going to want us to do the debate. So thank you, patrons, for picking the right way. Because if there's one thing that I want to do less than Flash Fried, it's watch the VP debate tonight. So
how can you say that?
How
can you say it's going to be a raucous debate?
You know, I might watch the thing. I'm not sure yet. I may or may not, or I may just watch highlights later. But one thing I know for sure is that I don't want to be in charge of trying to make that fucking thing interesting. So
fuck no.
Thank you guys for at least sparing me that. I might not be able to resist the urge to check in at least. But now I can just kind of have it on in the background, or I could choose not to even watch it at all.
Yeah,
so,
people were saying, in the comments, like, cover it during Flash Friday, but the debate is not taking place yet.
Well, yeah,
so
we can't. I'm sure it'll be maybe next week we'll cover it, or something.
Or we can cover the highlights of it or something. But we might do a separate video just to cover the highlights of the debate.
Like if something
thing.
actually happens in the motherfucker, we cover that.
Dude, I'm such a boomer. I forgot to turn on my fucking haptic Sinoog 2049 blades, dude. so much better. Sorry.
Oh yeah. You got
the life of a boomer time traveler. You know what I mean? I get all this great technology and bring it back with me, and I forget to turn it on. Okay, we're good.
I just have the
hold on. Let me adjust the reality augmentation real quick. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Awesome.
And speaking of that poll, 2,000 people voted in that poll. So it's like this is not a tiny little poll. 64% said do Flash Fried, 36 VP debate. So. Guys,
so
you think it's like a tiny group of people, over 2,000 people voted on this.
Dude, there was one patron in there that was I looked at how many comments there were, and I was like, whoa, there's a fuck ton of comments on this. Dude, like 75% of those comments are one dude who is trying to go, he's trying to start this revolution. He's all like, they should do both. Why are we letting them get off easy? They make thousands from our money, and they should do both. And nobody was jumping on board, but he just kept trying. So good on him.
Hey, listen, I understand that. I'm flattered that he wants us to do both. I'm flattered that he wants that much content from us. But at the end of the day, I don't think our shooting schedule. Now, you know what? It's gonna, we have enough shows in the bank now that our shooting schedule is maybe gonna calm down a little bit in a few weeks here. But our shooting schedule for the last few months has been fucking insane. So
you guys have no clue. It's been off the charts crazy.
I know, and we're fucking bedraggled, honestly. So, it's just the truth. Anyway, let's talk about this motherfucker that's on the screen here. This is Hurricane Delta. Just hit Cancun as a Cat 4 hurricane. It's weakened down to a Cat 2. Yeah, it just weakened it weakened to a Cat 2 because it hit Cancun. And and now it's a Cat 2. It's supposed to strengthen back up to a Cat 3 once it gets over the Gulf. And it looks like it's heading. It looks like at this point the models here. We'll see the track, I think, in a second here. The models all have it going directly through Lake Charles, which already was hit by I forget even the name of the last one that
Laura.
hit it. Yeah. And
yesterday I would watch
it's devastated. You look at a fucking air, here's the tracks right here. You see almost all the models have it going through Lake Charles. And that's fucking bad for Lake Charles because they just got their power back. There's still blue tarps on half the fucking roofs in that city. It's just devastating for those people. So
yesterday there are, a number of climate models that they go through from different climate because it's an inexact science. Telling exactly what a storm is going to do, obviously, is something that we're still working on.
Right. Yeah.
And looking at the tracks yesterday, and most of them had it coming way closer to us. None of them had it hitting New Orleans directly, but it had it, just west of us, which would be devastating for this area.
Yeah.
And then there was one model, the European model, which is always represented by a blue line that had it hitting Lake Charles.
Right.
Today, just a few minutes ago, we were getting ready to do the show and we checked these models, and now pretty much every model agrees with the European model from yesterday.
But
and
these storms can do some crazy shit. So we are keeping our eyes on it to make sure that it does not, in fact, change course and hit us. If it does, there might be some disruption in some of the stuff we do for you guys. You guys probably wouldn't notice it because most of the stuff we, give you guys has been recorded previously, but
it'll be a disruption on our end. On your end, it'll just be business as usual.
I was going to do,
unless you live in one of these areas as well.
I'm going to do the first. I'm doing 2 Abandoned Hopes this month because I missed mine last month. And the first of the 2 was supposed to be this weekend, and it probably still will be. But if the storm veers, that might change. So,
well, yeah, obviously, if we're gonna get a direct hit, your ass ain't doing Abandoned Hope.
Yeah, so that could change. But come hell or high water. Hopefully not high water, honestly.
If it's high water, you'll be TJ.
Bad expression for this, but yeah, I have a special fear of hurricanes, not necessarily just because of where I live or the fact that I've been through some, but I have do you guys have any recurring nightmares? Or I have a recurring nightmare about wading through water. I have a lot of dreams about floods.
I've definitely done that before. I don't know what is your fear of that based on?
I don't know. I just a lot of times in my dreams there's flood waters. I remember even that one time I was on a mountain. I'm like, I'm safe from the flood here, but then the fucking top of the mountain somehow flooded, even though that doesn't even make sense.
Some Waterworld shit.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. Well, no, the thing was the area around the mountain wasn't flooded. There was just a flood on top of the mountain somehow localized to the top. I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's a dream. What are you going to do? But
of course,
because I dream about it so much, I do have a fucking fear of that, When
I was a kid, I used to have recurring tidal wave dreams. So I guess that's kind of similar. I don't really have them anymore, though. I haven't had one in a long time.
Yeah, you know what? Chelsea has those tidal wave dreams.
I had a recurring dream about, because when I was a kid, I used to be able to see the mountains from our house.
Yeah.
That's no longer, you guys have been to the Central Valley now and you couldn't see the mountains. But when I was a child, every day you could see the snow-capped Sierra Nevada mountains plain as day on the horizon from my town.
Now they're hidden beyond the smog, right?
Yeah. Now you can't see them because of the smog and the horrible air quality. But I used to have a dream when I was little of standing, looking at those mountains on our front porch, and then a giant wave crashing over them and coming towards us.
That's kind of epic.
Yeah, it was.
It's terrifying,
it was
obviously, but it's
that's some 2012 shit, Paul. Look at the beautiful mountains. Giant tidal wave just fucking engulfs them.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about that is you'd have such advanced notice of your own doom, but there'd be really nothing you could do to stop it.
Because those mountains, especially the peaks of them, are 100 miles away from where I live. A little less, 70, 80 miles away. So you would have a minute probably to stare at that water coming over those mountains and know that there was nowhere you could go or hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's about what you'd have. You'd have about your minute or two of oh shit.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Do you have any, I guess it's kind of off topic, but do you have any recurring nightmare? Oh, you have the bugs and zombies, don't you, Scotty? Or do you have something else by now?
I don't have bugs, but I always have zombie dreams, dude.
Yeah.
It's never me. The weird thing about the zombie dream is that it's not it's I'm actually threatened by the zombies. It's it's you're playing a game. You have the God view of it, but you see I've definitely seen all of you guys be eaten by zombies though.
Cool.
Oh shit, TJ, get out of that house.
Have you ever seen me become a zombie and come after you? Because that would be cool.
Well, no, I'm never actually even if I'm present in the story, it's almost I take on a different character kind of quality. Almost if you're watching a film and they have a monster, an entity that's kind of just observing. It's I'm almost like an observer to the zombie apocalypse, almost like an impartial observer. Oh, humanity's being eaten by zombies now. This is crazy.
Oh, I don't mean to get too far off track either. And obviously this storm is concerning and stuff. But Paul, I did watch The Gate 2 on your recommendation. So
what'd you think?
It was better than I thought it was going to be. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pump it up like it was some great film because no.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I thought it was surprisingly decent, and I don't really understand why its ratings lag so far behind the original.
I think it did some interesting things.
Yeah, I mean, it advanced the story, and it didn't tell the exact same narrative again. So that's kind of like, for sequels, as far as I'm concerned, like telling a new story, it like gives you an automatic.
Does it reuse a bunch of footage?
No, not that I remember.
It doesn't.
Okay, well,
I think there is. I think there are a couple of flashback sequences, if I remember correctly, to the first movie, but I might be wrong about that. It's been a few months since I watched it.
I can't really peg any moments that were like reused, but it does reference the original movie, but it does it in such a way that it advances the story. So I think it was actually pretty good in that regard. But people aren't here to listen to us talk about movies. We got to get into the fucking news, so let's do it.
Of course. Anything about the news.
Damn.
Officer in Breonna
Nice
Taylor
try,
case who fired fatal shot has fundraiser for his retirement. Woo!
Hey, this is great news, man.
So an online campaign seeks $75,000 from Miles Cosgrove so he can buy the rest of his service time and retire and focus on the safety of his family. Wow. What about the safety? Okay, whatever. You know what I'm going to say.
Never mind. Don't even bring it up.
I'm not even going to fucking bother with it.
Yeah.
A detective who Kentucky's Attorney General said fired the shot that killed Breonna Taylor is seeking to purchase the rest of his service time so he can retire from the Louisville Metro Police Department, according to an online fundraiser launched by his family. The campaign on GiveSendGo.com, I've never even heard of that one, is seeking $75,000 to help Officer Miles Cosgrove purchase the rest of his service time so that he can retire and continue to focus on the safety of his family. It says the family has been put continually at risk over the past few months. Aw. It had
Poor them.
I know, right? They're the victims here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, no other families in that area have any idea what it feels like to be at risk every day.
I know what I mean? It's crazy. You know, it's
no other family has ever gone through anything like this and worried about the safety of their loved ones every single second of every day, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
so yeah, I'm going to go donate to this
This is a pretty unique situation that
poor
Officer Cosgrove finds himself in here.
Officer Cosgrove could move to another place and nobody would even know who he is if he's so scared for his life. So fuck Officer Cosgrove right in his fucking officer ass.
Cosgrove,
fuck.
I hate that his name is Cosgrove too, because there was a cop character named Cosgrove on that show Freakazoid, which I watched a lot as a kid.
Cosgrove.
And Cosgrove was a pretty cool character, and now I gotta fucking associate with this douche. Cosgrove could not be reached for comment Tuesday. The founder of Give, Send, Go, Jacob Wells, confirmed that the campaign was created by Cosgrove's immediate family and said proceeds will go to them. The campaign was first reported by the Courier-Journal newspaper of Louisville. Cosgrove and Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly are on administrative leave while separate internal and FBI investigations are conducted into the March 13th raid at Taylor's apartment. So this is a great story. This is really uplifting for me. I'm glad that this guy's going to get some money. He's already raised $7,200. So,
and just such a crazy fucking story because like the police have come out with such a different version of events that supposedly happened that night. So it's like they almost want you to believe that like they went above. Like, have you guys ever actually heard of any of the grand jury shit that's come out? And
no.
Like the police's narrative is pretty much like they did everything possible to protect human life. They did everything they could.
We went
this
in
guy
there.
was a maniac with a gun.
It was a ravenous beast. It called at the moon. Roar!
Like,
please don't attack. We don't want to shoot you.
This is the one that wants you to believe. Police, we're here. The police is here. Hey, it's the police. Come out. And the cops, they even said, like, we only believed it was going to be her and her children. Like, we didn't think there was going to be some crazy guy there. I mean, I didn't call him crazy, but we didn't know this gentleman was going to be there. He wasn't a resident, you know, so we just showed up there and, we're fired upon.
Hello.
That's what happened.
It's us.
You know, like we came.
It's us, the police. We just like to talk to you, please. And then they came out brandishing a samurai sword. Rah! We had no choice.
They lightly knocked and said, "Excuse me, this is the police. Might we talk with you?" And then the answer was just a hail of gunfire through the door.
You'll never take me alive, copper. It's like
cheer streams out his eye. No.
I don't want to have to shoot somebody, but I have no choice.
Yeah, give me
Ridiculous.
a break, dude. That's not what happened.
Brianna, here's what really happened. They went in there, and then what do they see but a werewolf? It snarled. They shot at it. They just happened to have silver bullets in the chamber. And then after they shot it, it turned into a black woman. Oh, my God, Breonna Taylor, no! She was a werewolf, I tells you. A werewolf! Ridiculous. Family of Tyson employee in Iowa who died of COVID-19 sues company, alleging gross negligence. I have a hard time believing that a corporation could possibly be in the wrong somehow, but
yeah,
I'll keep an open mind.
For it.
Negligence? Corporation? I mean,
that doesn't sound like the corporate America I know.
TJ, is this the Onion or something? Where's the satirical link thing at the bottom?
Scotty, try to keep an open mind, Scotty. I know that we all have complete and utter faith in the moral integrity of our corporations, but
of course.
The children of a Tyson Foods meat packer in Columbus Junction who died of COVID-19 have sued the company over what they say was a lack of protective measures for its workers. Gasp. Pedro Cano's family said he worked on the Eastern Iowa pork processing plant's line in late March and April without a mask or gloves. Really makes me feel like really safe in the quality of the meat that I'm getting, by the way. According to a lawsuit filed in the Johnson County District Court on September 23rd. They also allege Cano worked elbow to elbow with other employees who did not receive guidance from his bosses about the threat of COVID-19. Cano began to feel symptoms of the virus on April 2nd, 4 days before the plant was closed because of rapidly spreading infections, according to the lawsuit. At the time, Tyson reported that 24 employees had tested positive for the virus, a figure that eventually ballooned to 522, according to the Iowa Occupational Safety and Health Administration. This should be class action, by the way. Cano's family alleges gross negligence and fraudulent misrepresentation by Tyson, citing public comments from executives that the company was diligent about educating team members and needed to keep the plants open to supply food to grocery stores, even though at the time U.S. pork producers were shipping large amounts of pork to China. Okay.
Wow. Looks like Tyson done lied.
Tyson, which formed a coronavirus task force in January, told some white-collar employees to work from home on March 17th.
In response to the news, company.
Yeah. In response to news of the lawsuit, a company spokesman said in an email, we're saddened by the loss of any Tyson team member and sympathize with their families.
Shocking.
Man, I love these corporate, fucking statements about whatever fucking horrible shit they've done.
Guys, they were very diligent. And they were always communicating to their team members.
Listen to what their top priority. Yeah, you know what, Scotty? Listen to what their top priority was, dude. Our top priority is the health and safety of our workers. Wow. Wow. I mean, case closed.
Come on.
Case fucking closed. That was their top priority, Scotty. I don't know what's so funny about. I don't know what's so funny about that, Scotty.
Yeah, okay.
Top priority
at a meat processing factory. That was their top priority, was the health and safety. Okay, yeah. Has anyone ever actually seen a picture?
Yeah, look. I mean, Scotty,
it's laughable.
Listen, Scotty. Revenue, stock. Those are here. Those are important. But above
Chinese
that,
consumers.
Yeah. Above all of that, though, Scotty. Above all of those things is the safety of their employees.
Yeah, let's just do that tone poll again. All the workers that make that factory possible, the bottom of the pyramid here, the CEOs at the top. Is the CEO of Tyson social distancing? I bet you they are. I don't know if it's a man or woman. I don't know who it is, but I guarantee you they're not taking a bunch of chances with their lives, but they'll have people ass to ass on these lines doing already dangerous work, guys. Because remember, I think we've covered that in previous episodes. Like, it's super dangerous to do this job. And you have a pandemic to worry about. Oh, and then not even accidental deaths, people dying from disease. The company knows about it. Oh, but we have to keep the grocery stores. Guys, the grocery stores, we got to have meat on the store shelves. So that sounds really good to the American public. And the reality is it's all going to China. They don't give a flying fuck about
Scotty.
you.
So our top priority is the health and safety of our workers. And we've implemented a host of protective measures at our facilities that meet.
Yeah, they issued one glove and one fucking mask to each employee.
Listen, Sky, these measures meet or exceed CDC and OSHA guidance for preventing the virus. currently, less than 0.5% of our U.S. workforce has active COVID-19.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're saying, yeah, of course.
How many thousands of people is that exactly, Tyson? Yeah, that's crazy.
Can I go ahead and just be a broken record for a second and say,
go ahead.
Solidarity, new union movement, new national union movement with strong locals and a general strike once that is in place. That's how you fix this. That's the only way that you fix this. This lawsuit is going to fizzle out or be settled out. Some people might get a little payout, and then Tyson chicken factories are going to continue to spread COVID to the people that are working in them. The only way that you as workers can assert any power over the corporations that do this to you is to collectively bargain, organize, and unionize. And that's it.
Yep. I think I convinced the guy who did my theme song, by the way, to cover Solidarity Forever as like a metal version, but we'll see if he actually does it.
That's cool. There's several punk versions of Solidarity Forever that are really good.
Yeah, I told him there's punk versions. He was like, I think this would actually be better as an acoustic. I'm like, all right, you may be right, and that's how it's been done most of the time. But I've like found punk versions, and I found folk versions, and I found a cappella versions, but I've never fucking heard a metal version. So
You gotta tell him, look, you gotta do the metal version.
Yep.
John Hagee, prominent mega church pastor, ill with COVID-19. Well, I guess COVID-19 ain't all bad. You know what I mean?
Oh no!
It's an equal opportunity killer.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining on that dark storm cloud.
Prominent megachurch pastor and conservative activist John Hagee has been diagnosed with COVID-19. I object to the term conservative activist, by the way. That's not really a thing in my opinion. Because activism implies you're trying to change things, and conservatism pretty much implies that you're either trying to regress things or you're trying to
change it
maintain
back to the way it used to be, TJ.
Yeah, when? John Hagee has been diagnosed with COVID-19.
I don't know about 1790.
Yeah, good for them. His son announced during the services at the Texas church his father founded. The 80-year-old pastor, he's probably going to die, received the diagnosis Friday as he was recovering after the illness was detected early. Matt Hagee said during Sunday morning services at Cornerstone Church in San Antonio. John Hagee founded a ministry that the church says now has 22,000 members. His sermons are broadcast throughout the United States and Canada and live streamed online. John Hagee has been a committed supporter of Israel, founding Christians United for Israel. He is a stalwart backer of President Donald Trump, who with First Lady Melania Trump has also been diagnosed with COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. Then it just goes and talks about Trump some more. But yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. And yeah, I would say that I hope he dies, but I don't know if that's okay to say. So I'll just say that,
I don't know.
He's probably going to die, and I won't cry about it.
Was he one of these dudes that was at the pulpit talking about how COVID was a hoax and nobody needs to wear masks, or like?
I don't know if he was, but I don't know. Man, you might have been. Who knows? I know
you gotta presume. I
mean, there's a good fucking chance.
Presume.
There's a good fucking chance, Scotty. You can look into that if you want.
Yeah. I don't know what he said. What did he done say about it? Let's see.
Find out, Scotty. Find out if this motherfucker has previously said any, COVID, Jesus will protect us from the COVID. I remember there was that one preacher that, tried to, blow COVID away. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
He was all like, COVID-19, get out! He's just like,
be gone!
I'm about to blow you away!
Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But at San Antonio's Cornerstone Church on Sunday morning, hundreds of maskless congregants sang and prayed, swaying together in the pews, babies and grandparents in close proximity. It might have been easy to forget there was a deadly pandemic blazing through the country. That is, until about 25 minutes into the sermon, when Pastor Matt Hagee, on a stage bathed in blue light, announced that his father, the 80-year-old senior pastor and the church's founder, John Hagee, had been diagnosed 2 days earlier with COVID-19. My impression, I'm not going to read this whole article for people, is that no one here took this seriously.
So it says that these people are all...
They probably still won't.
But Hagee is perhaps best known outside of evangelical circles for his long history of outlandish statements and more recently coronavirus shutdown skepticism.
All right.
So there it is. Yeah,
Yep.
he was an anti-masker, anti-fucking shutdown.
Well, it's sure. All I can say is I'm sure going to shed quite a few tears when I hear that he's died. When I hear that Jesus done took him home. Trump halts stimulus talks, spurning Powell and roiling markets. President Donald Trump ended talks with Democratic leaders on a new stimulus package hours after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's strongest call yet for greater spending to avoid damaging the economic recovery. I have instructed my representatives to stop negotiating until after the election, when immediately after I win, we will pass a major stimulus bill that focuses on hardworking Americans and small. This guy's not a good politician. He's just not. He's not. I'm sorry, he's not. Like,
you have to understand, like, too, we haven't covered it because it happened, between flash rides and shit. Trump's got COVID.
Yeah, he does.
He's pumped full of steroids that make you feel like $1 million fucking bucks to keep his airways open and shit. And he's literally, like, steroid mania is a thing that doctors are well aware of. So we've got a president now in the throes of steroid mania making tweets that crash the economy. This tweet that he made, made the economy tank yesterday or the day before because it was
here it is.
It was implying that he was boom. It was implying that he was holding the economy and the needs of the people hostage. Like, he's just so stupid.
Stocks tumbled after. Look at it. Stocks tumbled after Trump's posting called an end to months of hard-fought negotiations between the administration and Congress. Democrats had most recently pushed a $2.2 trillion package that failed to garner Republican support in the House, while the White House have endorsed a $1.6 trillion. The S&P 500 closed down about 1.4% after having risen earlier in the day in the wake of Powell's mounting pressure on policymakers to act. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi continued to insist on $2 trillion or more in stimulus, according to a Republican familiar with the negotiations, while the GOP lacked votes for such a large package. The legislation that has the House's passed. House has passed last week with Democratic support. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. So the point here is that these negotiations, even if these motherfuckers couldn't come to an arrangement, they were much better off like fighting over it and continuing to fight over it than they are just Trump being like, nope, negotiations over. We'll do it after I win.
Did you see that today he walked this back?
Yeah.
So this is the strangeness of having somebody with steroid mania be your president. The next day, Trump said, I'm willing to sign a stimulus package right now for $1,200 to every person. You hearing me, Nancy Pelosi? It's like, that's the exact. So now you're negotiating again? Is that what I'm hearing?
Negotiations over. Let's resume negotiations. It's like,
what?
You fucking. He's a maniac.
Yeah. I mean, Trump has come out to say he supports airlines getting $25 billion because they've already done massive furloughs, but they're really just layoffs by any other name. $135 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses, just from unused funds. And of course, like Paul said, he'll do a standalone bill of like, look, we'll give people money. Of course, Trump wants to have his name on giving people money. But that's about all they're willing to do at this point.
By the way, he's willing to do the same exact stimulus that happened towards the beginning of this when the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And Democrats are pulling for more. They think that like it's gotten worse in the intervening time and people need more than a $1,200 boost. They need, certain people in certain fucking income brackets need way more.
Yeah.
And the Republicans are not willing to fucking budge on that.
And it needs to be honestly, the Democrats shit is still fucking a half measure in my opinion, but at least it's the Republican shit is like 1/4 of a measure. I don't even know.
The only whole measure in this instance would be to establish a permanent UBI in this country.
Yeah,
like that would be the full measure to actually deal with this crisis.
Maybe Yang,
but that's not gonna happen.
Maybe we should have fucking voted Yang. I don't fucking know.
I mean, there's no maybe about it. Andrew Yang was one of the best candidates that was up there.
Look at this shit. Howard Stern nears deal with SiriusXM for around $120 million a year. How the fuck is he still worth that? His show has sucked for so long now. Anyway,
yeah, that's really shocking to me. But I think it's a sunk cost fallacy at this point. They paid him over $1 billion for his back catalog when he moved from terrestrial radio to satellite. Yeah. And so I have to imagine that keeping him around and keeping him doing his fucking show is just sunk cost fallacy at this point. It's also really the only draw that SiriusXM, like satellite radio, has tanked.
Yeah.
In terms of like the number of concurrent subscribers monthly since the merger, satellite radio subscriptions have gone down.
Right.
So the only thing that's drawing people is Howard Stern. You know what I mean? And so
I feel like they'd be better off spreading that money around and trying to get
there's so many
other
services now. So, I mean, like, if you have Spotify, most cars are going to integrate with, like, okay, you can have Spotify in your car. So they're not going to necessarily say, oh, I need satellite radio. And, like, satellite radio is kind of like,
You've not only got Spotify in your car, you've got every other podcast in your car. You can go to fucking Podbean and listen to any fucking thing in your car. You can go to fucking, you know what I mean? So you have all these options, and really they're trying to bank it like an old terrestrial radio show, and kids just don't even know what that is. Like, 20-year-olds now didn't even grow up in the era of radio. They don't listen to it. They don't care about it. And he's still trying to do that show. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, the most you're going to get is just people who get who buy a new car, get a free trial. It's like, oh, Sirius, what's this about? Yeah, who cares? You know, like,
yeah,
I listen to Sirius XM sometimes, but I got like a 2-year free, thing when I bought a car.
But I've had it I had it in my new car with like a 6-month thing. And after it ran out, I was like, like, you want to re-up? Like, no, I'm good. Thanks.
I got it in 2006 for Howard Stern. I got it put in my car.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I got it in 2006 for my car. I paid for it for a long time and finally got sick of the show sucking. So,
yeah. Trump still seemingly struggling to breathe after hospital return, White House aides say. Yeah, why would you suspect anything else? President Trump isn't the picture of health he's making himself out to be. White House aides tell the New York Times. After returning from Walter Reed Medical Center on Monday after his COVID-19 diagnosis and 3-day stay, Trump removed his face mask defiantly before entering the White House. Aides say it was supposed to be Trump's display of strength after his hospital visit, even though it put everyone around him at risk because he was still contagious with the virus. But they also wondered if the face covering the mask was making it harder for the president to breathe, the Times reported. The next day, aides say Trump's voice was stronger than it had been the night before, but at times he still sounded as if he was trying to catch air, the Times writes. Aides, including White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah, publicly said they were comfortably working here as more and more White House workers tested positive for the virus.
How?
Well, that's just what they got to say,
I read this little blurb yesterday. There are more active COVID cases in the White House right now than there are in several countries, including New Zealand combined. I can't remember the other countries it was, but it was like New Zealand and 2 other countries combined. There are more active known COVID cases just in the White House.
Yep.
Than in those countries combined.
Let me tell you something, gentlemen. Our country, oh, man, we do it again and again and again. New Zealand, they came and beat our White House in COVID cases.
We're number one, y'all.
And you know what? Brazil and India were hot on our heels. India might end up passing us, though. That's our little positive thing. We'll be number 2, Paul. How's that sound to you?
I don't like that at all. As an American, that's
yeah, dude. A country with over 1 billion people. Yeah, that's normal, right?
Everybody go get COVID. We gotta get on top of this.
We can't let these numbers up.
We can't let fucking India beat us. What the fuck? But this guy is gonna let you know that any fucking concerns about the president's health, totally unfounded. Yeah. Right Wing Watch. Gotcha. Great.
More than likely, your president of the United States, who fucking has god-tier genetics, okay?
God-tier genetics, dude? What the fuck? Did
God
made in the lab or something? Or did God fucking personally craft Trump in the womb or something?
Dude, I love the Game of Thrones thing he's got back there. House MAGA. You know what I mean? With the lion head and shit.
Dude, a guy whose dad had to be fooled into thinking he was still working because he was so dementia-addled that they took him to the fucking... they would let him go to the office every day. This Fred Trump, Donald's dad. They would let him go to the office every day and put a stack of blank papers in front of him to sign. And they had a special phone that was rigged to go, like, no matter what number he dialed, it only went to his secretary. And she would pretend to be whoever he was trying to call.
Yeah, they need to do that with Trump.
That's some God tier genetics right there, man.
God tier. The
God
ultimate
tier.
genes.
I don't care what you say. That dude's got God tier genetics, okay? His kids are always healthy. They're all strong, tall, no deformities, nothing going on, all right?
No deformities? What a low bar for God tier genetics.
Look, they're not
no
deformed.
deformities. Also, have you seen Eric Trump? Come on. I mean, there's a little bit of deformity going on there.
Dude,
Have you seen Trump's parents, dude?
My sister and I were all born with 10 fingers and 10 toes, so I must have God tier genetics, you know?
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible. God tier.
Right? These are rock solid people. President Donald J. Trump, he's been your president 3.5 years. He's been campaigning for I don't even know how long, another 2 years on top of that. You've never seen him sick. You've never seen him without energy.
We just had him sick.
So he's literally has COVID-19 right now. So we have seen him sick, and we've definitely seen him low energy. Like, did you watch that speech he gave to the UN? Like, every time there's plenty of fucking times we've seen him low energy as fuck. So that's just a lie.
Energy.
What about the the Burv graveyards? Gravias. Yeah, I mean, dude, Trump, what's this guy talking about? Like, he obviously just doesn't listen. He watches Trump's campaign rallies where Trump gets all hopped up and does his fucking stand-up routine for the fucking crowd and be like, yeah, that's Trump. That's Trump for you. I've never seen Trump sick.
God
the
bless
president's
you
gonna
all.
disclose to your pleb ass if he's sick.
God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. You guys remember that one? You guys remember that Trump?
Oh, yeah,
That's some high energy Trump.
So
God bless the United States of America. High energy
President
Trump, dude.
is not somebody that's walking around with weak ass pussy fucking genetics, all right? He ain't got those liberal genes, okay?
Oh, so that's what it is. That's all.
Liberal
that's how you stay
genes,
safe, guys.
man. The liberal gene. I'm scared of everything.
Hey, TJ, do your genetics even lift, bitch?
Oh my God, please don't hurt me. Oh, I'm a liberal. Please don't hurt me.
These are God tier genetics, up top fucking 1 percentile genetics.
This is such a fucking
Top
joke.
1
Jesus Christ.
percentile genetics. What is this? What? Does this guy even know what genetics are?
No.
He's got top 1.1% genetics because he's rich. So
This guy just said that there is a whole subset of genetics known as liberal genetics. So no, he doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about.
So don't even
It's like genetics.
Part of what makes President Trump special is that we finally have somebody we can build legend around. And
Oh my God.
I gotta tell you, dude. I gotta tell you, dude. I've been rewatching the documentaries of Adam Curtis with my girlfriend. We're watching The Power of Nightmares right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Power of Nightmares covers the neoconservative philosopher that started the movement, Leo Strauss.
Mhm.
And this is his philosophy from like the 1920s and 30s, right? Being shown to being powerful, because that's exactly what he said. He said that in order for America, his belief was that Americans' penchant towards individual freedom was tearing it apart and making it into a selfish nation, and that the only way to save America is to build a mythology, is to give them figures and incidents like wars and attacks on America and stuff like that, that would give them a myth that they could believe in. What Plato called, I'm trying to remember what Plato called it, like a useful lie.
Yeah.
Or a harmless lie.
A noble lie.
A noble lie. Yeah.
Oh,
that's exactly it.
Okay.
And that was his big deal, was that America needed figures and figureheads that they could build mythology around. And now you see the bottom result of Leo Strauss's political ideas in action. A retard babbling on about how the Trump somehow has better genetics than anybody else, even though Trump is a sickly old fuck, fat, stupid, addled. You see what I mean? Like, it sounds silly when it comes out of his mouth. We need somebody to build a legend about. But if you trace that thought, that's what's done to our country, what's happened to our country.
Y'all ever heard the legend of Trump's gold? It was said that Trump went to the hills of South Dakota one day and took his fortune. And he buried it in them hills up there. And it said only his truest and most loyal followers will be able to follow the clues he left in his speeches and find the location of the gold.
Golden on.
Donald Trump is 10 feet tall. Shits lightning bolts from his arse. It's like, oh my God. What the fuck?
Did you guys poll the fucking Republican congressman who said, I never love another president again?
No.
I mean, there was just a tweet. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was just like the biggest fucking cock gobbling I've ever seen.
I mean, so like, it just reminded me of that. Just basically just said, I will never love another president again, dude. The people that support Trump, just the level they go to. I mean, and like, look, you can say whatever you want to about Joe Biden. I'm not a fucking supporter of Joe Biden or whatever. I don't fucking like him. But I don't see him out there saying, I will never love another president or a potential president again like I would love Joe Biden. Like, what the fuck is this with these people? Like they're just like, they've cucked themselves. Like, they're so in love with Trump. And look at this guy's fucking background here. It's all Trump. Everything's Trump. Does he even have an identity?
Trump.
They've been poisoned. Trump. They've been poisoned by magical thinking. Like, that's really what's at the basis of Straussian politics is magical thinking. It's like taking the masses, the uneducated masses, and giving them a religious figure that they believe in and having it being a unifying figure. So it's the nation and the leaders are all part of this mythology. And so he's on the bottom end of that. He's one of the dumbasses, which that tactic was used against, and you can see the value of it. Look at him. He's literally a walking billboard for the biggest retard we've ever had in office.
He's a fucking fervent believer, man. I mean, I can see the kind of philosophy you're talking about. I mean, I don't know much about it, admittedly, but like, I'm not surprised because for conservatives to win in this country, like, they have to hold the fucking line. Like, they have to hold all their people in line together, and they have to cheat, and they have to do everything under the sun to win. Like,
I know I've been pimping it a lot, but if you're interested in the psychological underpinnings of why people like this exist, if you find yourself dumbfounded that there's a person like this, and not just one person, but like millions of people like this in the country, I cannot recommend highly enough the documentaries of Adam Curtis, especially The Power of Nightmares in the 20th Century of the South. I've been pimping those pretty much every chance I get because there's a lot of understanding in those documentaries when it comes to how we got where we are.
Cool.
Legend. All right. And so far, President Trump has dispatched the Russians. He's dispatched China. He's dispatched North Korea.
He has?
Wow.
That's news to me.
He dispatched them?
He dispatched them all, man. It's crazy.
Dispatched them.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that when China surrendered to the U.S., North Korea surrendered to the U.S., and Russia all simultaneously? Just like, you guys are too
They
powerful.
all bended the knee to King Trump. It's like, what? When did that happen, you fucking moron?
Yeah.
He's dealt with the Iranians. He whacked ISIS. He destroyed the deep state. He destroyed Obama. He destroyed Clinton. All these.
None of this happened, bro. Like, okay, well, maybe ISIS kind of happened, but yeah.
I got to be honest with you. ISIS, as it was presented to us in the news media and by our government, never existed in the first place.
That's true.
So let's be real about this. He didn't dispatch shit. He went over there and spent American blood and treasure chasing a bunch of fucking guerrilla warriors around their country and changed to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also destabilized basically one of the central birthplaces. Like, we covered this in a Saddam episode of Arab nationalists who wanted to create a state like ISIS. So the writing was already on the wall there. So they created ISIS, if anything. If ISIS existed in any form, was created by the Iraqi government.
Not to bring it back to Adam Curtis, but he talks about that. One of the parts of The Power of Nightmares is called the Phantom Enemy. And it's about how American neoconservatives invented. First, they started with Russia. Russia was the enemy that was needed for this legendary myth building. And Russia fell apart due to its own rot. But America took credit for it. If you talk to, even in American history now, you'll be taught that it was America that won the Cold War, and that's what broke up the Soviet Union. The truth of the matter is that the Soviet Union broke up under its own malfeasance and corruption. Like it was dead before we even started with it, and it just died as a result of bad politics. So when we defeated that enemy, we found ourselves without an enemy. And if we don't have an enemy, you can't have good myth building, right? You have to, if you're going to be the good empire, there has to be an evil empire. Well, the evil empire became the Middle East. And that's it. That's why we're there.
Fight him. He beat all of them so far. He beat Mueller. He beat the FBI. He beat the CIA. Do I need to keep going? He's going to add coronavirus to the list.
Trump beat his own government. Good job. I mean, what's that? He beat the FBI. He beat them all.
Man, the fucking internal dialogue of wishful thinking that's coming out in the form of vlogs from right wingers about COVID and Trump is
that's weird shit.
Holy shit, man, he's gonna beat it. I had a dude last night that was like, I was talking a little bit about it on Twitter, and he tweeted at me, "Trump beat it with a $5 steroid." I was like, "He did? He beat it? Oh, okay." Never mind the fucking remdesivir, the monoclonal fucking antibodies, and the team of fucking top-level doctors watching him 24/7.
Yeah, that's not what helped him.
Not only that, but like the last time we saw his ass, he was all...
and we ain't seen his ass since. I wonder why. He's feeling so great. He's feeling so great. Why ain't we seen him since he was gasping for air like a goldfish?
Next time we see him, he's going to be in a Darth Vader mask.
Everything was going to plan.
I feel fine. It's like, what the fuck?
COVID-19 has been exaggerated greatly.
And this dude, it's like Trump will be like, there is no COVID-19. It's like, what the fuck?
There isn't. The deep state made it up.
And this guy will be like, oh my God, based. His God-tier genetic shine once again.
Ridiculous.
None of his kids is even deformed or nothing.
Look, they got 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Look at the amount of money this dude. Look at the amount of money this dude has spent on MAGA shit. That alone lets me know what a stupid fucking dupe he is. Yeah, let alone the shit that comes out of his mouth. What a fucking dumbass. Self-awareness has disappeared from a good portion of the American electorate. Like these people look like fucking clowns, dude. Surrounded by all of this fucking nonsense, exalting this obviously fucking stupid, empty-headed, bloated bag of shit. It's like, how sad, dude. How sad for this guy.
I know, dude. It really is sad.
But Trump's not the only one with COVID problems. I don't know why there's a husky here, but COVID-stricken.
You know what? A husky taking
Christie.
a bath in the sink is pretty awesome. I do like that.
Yeah. COVID-stricken Chris Christie says Jordanian king called him in New Jersey hospital.
Why would a Jordanian king call an American politician?
I don't know. Let's find out. Former New Jersey governor Chris Christie. I say New Jersey.
Chris Crispy, TJ.
Chris Krispy Kreme. On Monday said he got a call from Jordanian. I can't talk apparently. Jordanian King Abdullah II wishing him well after he was hospitalized with COVID-19. The Republican told the Star Ledger he spoke with the king for about 10 minutes and he was invited to the Arab kingdom when he recovers. Chris, I'm concerned about you and I want to make sure you're okay, the king said, according to Christie. Your Majesty, I really appreciate the call, Christie says he replied. The Jordanian embassy in Washington did not immediately reply for a request for comment from the Post. Christie attended a White House Rose Garden event on Saturday, September 26th, at which President Trump introduced Amy Coney Barrett as his nominee to replace the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Many other attendees later tested positive for a serious respiratory bug.
It was a super spreader event. And by the way, the CDC wanted to do contact tracing for the event, and they Of course, the Trump administration rebuffed them. So there you go.
Christie
So not only
controversially
did the
hosted
event happen,
yeah,
but they will not be able to track. Not only did the event happen, but they won't be able to track the people that may have it and who they've spread it to.
Correct.
Nice.
Christie controversially hosted in luxury by Abdullah II while he was governor in 2012, checked himself into a New Jersey hospital Saturday due to a history of asthma. Christie and former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani helped Trump prepare for the first debate against Democrat Joe Biden the same week as Barrett's nomination event. An unmasked Christie was photographed hugging people in the Rose Garden. And also at the nearby Black Lives Matter Plaza, a scene of protest in June following the Minnesota police killing of George Floyd. Other Rose Garden guests who attended, who tested positive include Mike Lee of Utah, Senator Mike Lee of Utah, and Tom Tills of North Carolina, a former White House aide, Kellyanne Conway, Notre Dame University President John Jenkins, White House Press Secretary Kayla McEnany disclosed Monday that she tested positive days after tested positive after days of negative results. Okay. And we know that that Miller dude got it too since this article was published. Yeah. The White House is full of fucking coronavirus right now.
Yep.
So shocking.
And it's crazy.
Almost like there's a deadly disease that was spreading.
It's crazy because they obviously have taken every precaution too. So it's like, so latest polls on this right now. Not a whole lot of movement, but Biden maintains a comfortable lead in national polling, about 9.4% up. But the country has lost its mind. Polls warning of civil war and violence show deep partisan chasm over election. This is more interesting to me than the actual polls. Bill Fry, 61, is a supporter of Donald Trump in rural Ohio who doesn't share much in common politically with Matt Edelman, 29, a Joe Biden backer in Brooklyn, New York, except this. They both worry about the legitimacy of the upcoming presidential election and fear an outcome that appears tainted could heighten the nation's already frayed psyche and exacerbate violence in the streets. They're not alone. A new poll shows a large swath of Americans harbor deep reservations about the election results weeks before Election Day and are concerned about what actions people might resort to as a consequence. The YouGov poll of 1,999 registered voters found that nearly half, 47%, disagreed with the idea of that the election is likely to be fair and honest. And that slightly more than half, 51%, won't generally agree on who is legitimately elected president of the United States. The online poll was conducted on October 1st through 2nd and has a margin of error of plus or minus 2.56 percentage points. In addition, a YouGov poll of 1,505 voters found that 56% said they expect to see an increase in violence as a result of the election. That question had a margin of error of 4.2 percentage points. For Fry and many other Trump supporters, the concern over the election's legitimacy is tied to the largely unproven claims Trump has raised about potential fraud involving millions of mail-in ballots that already have begun to pour in to election offices across the nation. We would be foolish to accept that it's a real thing that happens sometimes, and I won't. And I just worry that it's going to happen in greater numbers this year, said Fry, a Marine veteran who owns a dental management company in Blanchester, Ohio. And a lot of my friends, Blanchester, and a lot of my friends think the same thing. Blah, 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 blah. There's also...
It's all ready to get the president.
Let's see if I can find the Civil War shit in here, too. That's kind of interesting.
The Civil War's coming.
Civil War. On the verge of Civil War. These sentiments might help explain the conclusion of a new survey that finds a majority of U.S. adults believe the country is on the verge of a second civil war. Of those, 4 of 10 said they strongly agree with the sentiment expressed, most sharply by those identifying themselves as very conservative or very liberal. The online poll, September 23rd, has a margin of error of 4.42 percentage points in either direction. This is the single most frightening poll result I've ever been associated with, says Rich Thau, president of Engageus, one of 3 firms, along with Sports and Leisure Research Group and ROKK Solutions that sponsored the survey. Thou said the partisan tensions have been bubbling below the surface or just above for some time, and that the divisions are being ruptured further by a pandemic over which both sides disagree on the severity and response, and in an election in which both sides view each other as hardened combatants. Blah, 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 blah. The poll doesn't define what a civil war would look like. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, the point is that there's not much faith in our electoral process on either side. And both sides strongly suspect that violence is going to happen, and a large chunk of Americans believe that we are on the cusp of a new civil war.
Well, sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy to me.
Wow.
Paul's like, well,
I mean, I just don't. I don't know. Like, I feel like I feel a sense of deja vu happening right now when it comes to this election and the way that liberals are touting it. Like, I see a lot of left-wing people posting poll numbers and stuff that look incredibly similar to the poll numbers that we saw in 2016, and claiming that this is an evidence of a guaranteed Joe Biden slide. This is all shit I heard in 2016. Hillary's got it in the bag. Hillary's leading by double digits nationally. She's leading in every battleground state.
Oh, remember Huffington Post? We were looking at like 99% chance of Hillary. We're just like, it's Hillary.
Yeah, no, I mean, even 538, Nate Silver's 538 was calling it pretty much obviously for Hillary in 2016. And I see people that I know lived through that posting these poll numbers, thinking that they're helping their cause. Like the sentiment that Biden is blowing fucking Trump out of the water hurts him, because it causes people who may have planned to go down to the polls and pull the lever for Biden to go, oh, you don't need it. Look, he's already polling so fucking far ahead. I'm just going to stay home.
He's fine. He's already got fucking 20 points or whatever. I'm good.
That, on top of the fact that it's a well-known psychological phenomenon that people answer the opposite on polls of what they intend to do, also espouse publicly political positions, and then once they're in the booth, often pull the lever for the opposite side because they don't want to risk the social stigma that comes with being either a liberal or a conservative. So that taints polls as well. So anybody that's like posting these Bo Biden polls, going like, look at Bo Biden, man, he's fucking blowing Trump away. I'm like, are you trying to lose? Are you trying to settle into the same complacent mindset that watched Hillary Clinton get blown out of the water in fucking 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Have you still not learned the lesson that it is not the popular vote, but the electoral college that elects these fucking presidents? What do you have to do? Do I have to write that Joe Biden is not guaranteed to win this on a Louisville Slugger and slap you upside the fucking head with it to get it through your fucking head that you're not out of the woods and that there's not a guaranteed victory for Joe Biden, despite what you may think about this fucking president? Here's another thing that I don't hear any of these liberals posting these polls talking about. Joe Biden is facing an incumbent. In the last century of American history, only 2 incumbents have been unseated. Hillary was not facing an incumbent.
Bush and who else?
Yeah.
Who was the other one? Oh, Reagan.
Bush and no. Bush and
Reagan.
Jimmy Carter.
Well, yeah, but it was Reagan that beat Carter.
Right.
Oh, Reagan. Yeah, correct. Yes.
Right. I was talking about. Yeah. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was George H.W. Bush.
Reagan beat Carter. That was the two.
Right. George H.W. Bush and Carter were the two incumbents that were defeated by the electoral process in the last 100 years of American history.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think anyone that wants Joe Biden to be elected should be pushing. They should, if anything, they should be pushing their fucking foot on the gas. They should
honestly be doing what I'm doing. This is the sad thing. People are in opposition to me undercutting this Joe Biden landslide fucking victory. Like I'm on Trump's side. I'm doing the job that you should be doing, motherfucker. You should be out there, whether it's true or not, convincing people that this comes down to the line and we need every vote. We need every person at the fucking polls. We need everybody here.
Yeah.
And you're not doing that. You're going like, oh, he's got it in the bag, man. Just like you did with Hillary.
Yeah, Biden's got it.
I mean, at the end of the day, we all probably recognize that whatever differences there might exist between Biden and Trump, they're probably not too significant in most areas. Like, I don't believe their foreign policy would be significantly different. I don't believe their handling of Wall Street would be significantly different. I think on some social issues, they might have some token differences, and that's probably about it.
Yeah, you'll have shit like we'll have like a national mask policy.
So I don't.
Bullshit. Like,
I'm not honestly too concerned about it, but I obviously I've obviously made it clear that I prefer Biden marginally, but it's really not.
They're
that
saying
big of a
the
deal
same thing too. Like they're saying some of the same shit. Like they were like, yeah, Trump might have won, but this latest gaffe, this latest fucking coronavirus gaffe, or this latest fucking thing that he said. And I'm like, what? Grab him by the pussy? You mean? You mean how there was no fucking way that he could win after that?
Let's just remember that
dude, I was dancing when that happened, Paul. You remember that shit? Like I was dancing.
Let's remember that this guy is the fucking base here. Okay, this guy doesn't give a fuck what Trump does.
No.
This guy's going out to vote for Trump no matter what. Trump could have
Joe Biden could fucking
Trump could be caught with his dick caught in a fucking llama or llama's ass or something, and this guy'd still be like, based the way Trump fucked that llama. Oh man, he showed that llama what for.
Joe Biden come out and say the Dilly Show will be the official show of his administration. They're going to pump millions of dollars into it, and this guy would probably still be like, Trump,
dude, if Joe Biden had got caught fucking a llama, he probably would have busted a nut in like 2 seconds and short stroked it. Look at this deep stroke the fucking God Emperor's giving this llama, man. He fucks that llama for 10 minutes before he busts a nut, dude. That's Chad energy right there.
That's champ.
That's how genetics.
That's how a champ fucks a llama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, don't ever take it for granted. Whoever you're going for, I mean, like, that should just be a no-brainer no matter what side of the political aisle you're on or who you're going for. Like, if you're trying to get a politician in office or out of office, you always treat it like it's fucking down to the wire.
Life or death. Yeah. And it should be, but it isn't. It should be a sentiment that both sides are well aware of now, especially due to the last 3 or 4 fucking election cycles, but they're not.
Yeah, get with the program, folks. So, speaking of elections, this is a kind of interesting one playing out in South Carolina right now. South Carolina, of course, is the home state of Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham was assumed that he would cruise to an easy re-election, but it seems like his path is a little bit more fraught than expected. The Republican incumbent finds himself in a tied race in both public and private surveys with challenger Jamie Harrison, who has proven to be perhaps Democrats' best recruit and fundraising behemoth. It's a jump ball at this point, said one South Carolina Republican strategist. Jamie is peaking at exactly the right time, and he's got a deluge of money. Harrison is blocking every pass there is from Republicans. Even Democrats in and outside of the Palmetto state are surprised such a typically red state is truly in play. Many Republicans have privately voiced frustrations that Graham's campaign didn't take the challenge from Harrison, a charismatic 44-year-old African-American former state party chairman who tells a compelling story of growing up with a teen mother and being raised by his grandparents in impoverished Orangeburg seriously enough from the get-go. Harrison first went up on TV back in April with positive bio spots and hasn't gone dark since. That allowed Harrison to set a tenor of the race, and since then he's had a series of ads that are very clearly aimed at who they hope will be Graham's Achilles heel, white women. In several spots, middle-aged or senior women talk about how they were once longtime Graham voters, but now see that he's changed on healthcare and how Harrison's values more clearly reflect their own. Harrison has made this race about character, and in other Democratic ads, they turn the tables and paint Graham as part of the swamp, and that seems to be working. Harrison started out this year by posting impressive fundraising totals each quarter, $7.37 million, $14 million respectively, outraising Graham each quarter too. Democrats expect a historic third quarter fundraising haul from Harrison as well, who's been raising money at a fast clip, $10.6 million in August alone. Even before Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death last month, where Act Blue donations poured into campaigns across the board. All that has enabled Harris to blanket the Palmetto State airwaves in a way no Democrat or Republican either has ever been able to do. As of Tuesday night, Harrison has spent or reserved time through Election Day on TV and digital ads of upwards of $60.3 million, an amount that's sure to grow in the final weeks of the race. Senate Majority PAC and the DSCC have contributed to and are on the air, but Harrison who gets lower advertising rates, accounts for about 89% of the spending for Democrats. Graham, meanwhile, has spent or reserved just $20.6 million so far.
I mean, this is just, I got to be honest with you. I'm not usually one to give props to the political parties, but this is smart political strategy on the part of Democrats. Lindsey Graham is one of these embedded ticks that kind of automatically gets reelected every fucking year. And they poured what sounds like an unprecedented amount of money into challenging him at a time where he's more like front and center than he has been in the past. Like Lindsey Graham has been in the news a lot. He's been a staunch supporter of President Trump. He was all over the fucking airwaves and shit during the Mueller trial and the impeachment trial. So his profile has raised nationally. And so it was a smart expenditure of money to find somebody with a good backstory and just dump a ton of money into the state. Whether or not it'll be enough to unseat him, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
a close race tends to favor the incumbent.
Sure, absolutely. Especially, and this has been a traditionally solidly red state, so it'd be interesting to see.
It's still an uphill battle, but interesting numbers.
But the fact that this guy's actually competitive there is kind of, I mean, like it really does do something. Like it. As much as we make fun of Beto O'Rourke and as much as I think he's a neoliberal pussy, like him running against Cruz in Texas and actually putting up a fight definitely kind of changed some dynamics in Texas. And I think that it kind of pushed the state a little bluer. And I
mean, Texas has been demographically,
it's been steadily moving in that direction,
blue every year. I mean, as more and more, as the Hispanic population becomes larger and larger, I mean, that's the big driver of it, as I understand it, is Texas's Hispanic population is exploding.
Yes.
And Hispanics, by and large, vote Democrat. So the fact that Texas, I don't think there's a lot of people saying like blue wave this year. Maybe. I really don't see Texas going blue this year.
I don't think this is the year for it, but
who knows? But I do think that the political scholars that are saying that Texas is in play within the next, 5-10 years, I think that they're correct.
I fully suspect that if I live a normal lifespan, I will see Texas go blue in my lifetime.
I mean, but here's the thing, though. It can go blue and to some degree, but if it's gerrymandered in such a way, even if there's a majority of people who are voting blue, if the way those districts are made up,
and we know that Republicans are very good at gerrymandering. I mean, like not to say that Democrats don't do it too, but Republicans are really fucking good at it.
Well, they've done it a lot more.
Eddie Van Halen, guitar hero, dies at 65. This happened yesterday. You know who broke the news to me was actually Chris Rock, strangely enough.
Jump.
Chris Rock,
really?
Chris Rock is super into 80s rock bands, I've noticed, following his Twitter.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. Eddie Van Halen, the guitarist and songwriter who helped give the rock band Van Halen its name and sound, died Tuesday after a battle with cancer. He was 65. His death was announced by his son, Wolf Van Halen, on Twitter, who said, "I can't believe I'm having to write this," the statement said, "but my father, Edward Lodwick Van Halen, has lost his long and arduous battle with cancer this morning. He was the best father I could have asked for. Every moment I've shared with him on and off stage was a gift." In a band known for its instability, due in part to its rotating cast of lead singers that most notably included David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, Eddie Van Halen and his brother Alex remained constants, appearing on 12 studio albums that reached across 5 decades and sold tens of millions of copies, more towards the 80s end than in recent years. But
amongst people that worship this kind of music, Eddie Van Halen is like a god.
Yeah.
Yes. That little blurb you read about the instability of the lead singer. There are Van Halen fans that are Sammy Hagar fans. There are Van Halen fans that are Diamond Dave fans. But one thing remains constant amongst Van Halen fans, that Eddie Van Halen was the heart, soul, and blood and bones of that band. Yeah. His sound is instantly recognizable to anybody that's familiar with rock music from his era. And this is really sad. You know what I mean? 2020 has been a fucking bitch.
Yeah, I mean, like we saw Neil Peart die earlier this year as well. That's another very legendary. I mean, like a lot of people fucking bring him up as the best drummer of all time.
I mean, guys, I don't know if that's true,
but
Well, Neil Peart is up there. He's on the short list of greatest drummers of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't remember the name of the drummer for the Who. He's on the list.
Keith Moon.
Keith Moon, yeah. But here's the thing. We're getting of that age. Like I'm 40, TJ, you're pushing 40, Scotty, you're pushing your mid 30s.
Yep.
We're getting to that age where we're going to start seeing a lot of our heroes and a lot of rock legends die.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
A lot of them are so old. We've actually covered on the show before how old these guys are. So I mean, like we're going to see a lot of them die in the next 10 years.
We're waiting for the avalanche of rock star deaths.
And I mean, rock stars they don't typically live super long lives either. So it's we're really reaching that age where a lot of the people who we grew up listening to are going to start dropping, and it sucks, dude.
Oh yeah,
it really does.
I was not the biggest Van Halen fan in the world, but I know my mom listened to a shit ton of Van Halen, so I grew up with a lot of it because of that. I always really loved the song and the video for "Hot for Teacher."
Teacher.
That's where do you stand on the lead singer controversy? I'm a Diamond Dave fan myself.
I never got deep enough into it to really give a shit, because it's just like, for me, like there's a smattering of songs that I know and I didn't really pay too much attention to like who's singing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it was hot.
There are people that call Sammy Hagar's tenure with Van Halen, they call it the Van Hagar era. Because they hated Sammy Hagar so much. And then there are people that bitch about David Lee Roth softening Van Halen, which he did. He did that Just a Gigolo shit and fucking. Yeah. Actually, I think that was a solo thing that he did. But anyway, he was seen as like not as edgy,
They did. Wait, I'm gonna be. I don't want to insult Van Halen here by fucking misattributing something, but they did Running with the Devil too, right? Or was that something else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's probably my favorite song. Now, I didn't even know they sang it, because I just like the song. A lot of these bands, I just kind of like. There's a few songs I like, and I've never deep dived into the catalog or anything, but I know this dude's a legend, and I know that his guitar style was like not only inimitable but fucking super, like influential and shit. Like totally changed the game. I always appreciate any sort of artist who can change the game, even if I'm not personally like super into it. Like, oh my God, Van Halen, he's a fucking genius. I mean, I know he was a fucking genius, though. I mean, like, I
was actually wrong. Running with the Devil is Diamond Dave.
Okay,
I did not know that.
There you go.
David Lee Roth is the original. Now, of course, Sammy Hagar covered it a lot, but the original 1978 track was sung
with the Devil. I always loved that song. I was always like attracted to Satan, even as a kid, though. So that's probably why I like that song.
Yeah, like Highway to Hell by AC/DC.
Oh yeah, Highway to Hell. Like anything that mentioned hell or the devil, I was pretty much always like, yeah, that resonates with me. So, but yeah,
edgelord from the start, man.
I really was. I was born on the edge. Yeah, but this does suck. Like I said, I can't claim to have any sort of like personal, super powerful, profound emotional stake in this, but I feel like I gotta, you pay tribute when this kind of shit happens to an artist you respect, and I think he definitely earned the respect that he's given. So.
I agree. I'm pretty much in the same boat. I grew up, my parents loved Van Halen. I listened to a lot of it growing up. I like a lot of their songs. I'll groove to them, but I'm not the hugest fan. But seeing a fucking influential rock star like this croak, and early too. I mean, 65 is pretty fucking young.
Yeah.
Lived longer than my dad did, so.
Yeah.
And my dad was not a rock star. Sometimes he lived like one. Amazon workers outside Jeff Bezos's home. Oh, you know what? We should probably wrap it for the plebs here. But, actually, maybe the plebs should hear this one.
Sure.
Amazon workers outside Jeff Bezos' home call for a Prime Day boycott. So, Prime Day is happening soon. That's when Amazon does all its big deals and shit. Less than 2 weeks before the start of Amazon's annual Prime Day sales promotion is set to start, protesters rallied outside of CEO Jeff Bezos' Beverly Hills home to call for higher pay for Amazon warehouse workers and higher taxes on wealthy Americans. Nearly 100 protesters marched on Sunday, according to organizers of the rally. Former and current Amazon workers were joined by groups including United Teachers for Los Angeles, Sunrise LA, and Extinction Rebellion, which lobbies for action to combat climate change. So you got, I love how you got all these groups involved and still only 100 people. Or no, I'm sorry, nearly 100 people. I mean, it's a start, but fucking Jesus.
It's a start, but really, those numbers are fucking pathetic.
I know, they really are pathetic to me.
Nothing is gonna happen. Like,
imagine if there was like thousands of people outside this fucking dude's house, you know?
This is once again why we need a new national labor movement with strong locals, because if 100,000 people or even 20,000 people were standing outside of Jeff Bezos' house demonstrating, this would be a national news story and not a blurb at the bottom of some fucking shitty news place. You know what I mean? Like 100 people is pathetic. You can't do shit with it.
Not to say that those 100 people themselves are pathetic. They're awesome. No. Major props to them, but it's pathetic that that's as much as we can get to stand up to this cocksucker.
And that's why we need a union movement in this country, a new labor movement in this country, because if that 100 people was tenfold the size it was, we'd have a national news story on our hands, and they might actually get a Prime Day boycott. They could do a walkout of Amazon warehouse services and make Prime Day completely impossible.
The richest man in the world made $88 billion in the course of the pandemic. It's time to fight back, Chris Smalls, one of the protest leaders, told CBS Money Watch. Smalls worked at an Amazon warehouse in New York City until March when he organized a walkout and was fired shortly thereafter. So here's a little bit of footage of this. This is Bezos does nothing but look outside his window and laugh at this.
Oh, the plebs are here again.
I doubt there's no saying that Jeff Bezos was even at his house when this was going on.
Right, that's true.
He owns like 5 properties.
COVID has exposed a lot about this country, Smalls said. This country's in shambles right now. Everybody's losing their jobs. Small businesses are being closed because of Amazon. People's lives are being destroyed. Bezos' personal fortune has increased $70 billion in this year, according to the Bloomberg Billionaire Index. As masses of American consumers move to online shopping while sheltering at home, the company is set to double its warehouse footprint this year, as well as expand its workforce by nearly 300,000 across its warehouse and corporate divisions. Pretty soon, we're all going to work for Amazon. Despite Amazon's growth during the pandemic, employees have accused it of ignoring their safety concerns, lacking transparency about the extent of coronavirus infections at its facilities, and barring workers with health problems from working at home. The company briefly raised workers' hourly pay and expanded its time off policy at the outset of the coronavirus outbreak in U.S., but rolled back both policies this summer. Last week, Amazon revealed that nearly 20,000 of its workers had contracted COVID-19. That's lower than the positivity rate for the U.S. at large, the company said. In a statement, Amazon's spokesperson, Maria Borschetti, said, "Nothing is more important than the health and well-being." Man, I love this fucking statement that I just keep seeing all over the place about how nothing's more important. It's the top fucking priority. We love our workers. Oh my God, they're so special.
You can read the bottom part.
She added, "The fact is that Amazon already offers what unions are requesting for employees: industry-leading pay, a variety of benefits, packages, and opportunities for career growth, all while working in a safe, modern work environment." I guess there's no problem here. Everything's fine, you guys.
Paul, what are you talking about? They offer everything they would want.
No even point in a union, you guys, because it's already great. Amazon's already fucking awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
Woo! I mean, never mind the fact that I've known several people who've worked at these Amazon warehouses who have crazy horror stories. But, I guess they're all lying.
I've never heard of anyone that worked in an Amazon warehouse that said it was anything but subhuman, degrading work, that they were basically treated like basically an expendable asset, that they didn't even actually work directly for Amazon. They worked for temp companies. So, that's the thing, too. Amazon's adding 300,000 workers. Or they're not adding 300,000 employees. I guarantee you. And that's how it says workers.
Yeah.
Because they don't work directly for Amazon. They work for another company to limit Amazon's liability. So they're not hiring 300,000 people. They're hiring 300,000 people who are going to have no rights, who are basically going to be treated as totally expendable. Like, if you don't want to work and walk 10 miles a day, get the fuck out of here.
My girlfriend
worked about these people.
Worked at a giant Amazon fulfillment center before she moved down here to be with me, and she like the stories that she tells are fucking insane. And like the hours, the backbreaking fucking labor, the constantly like increasing quotas that people have to make. Certain amount of packages have to be moved an hour, and that number just keeps going up.
Security screenings. Oh yeah, because they went to the Supreme Court. Amazon was sued and was like, no, they actually can make you wait in line before you do your job and after unpaid to go through a security screen to make sure you're not stealing from Amazon.
Yep. Which
people do steal from those companies. That does happen because the person I knew, people were caught regularly trying to steal from Amazon because they have access to a lot of expensive items. But the argument was that, okay, if we have to do that, we should be paid. And of course they argued, no, you shouldn't be paid. And they won.
Yep. Never mind the fact that you have a protection under the fucking Constitution against unreasonable search and seizure. So, like, treating every Amazon employee like they're a thief, unpaid.
Yep, that's how you treated. It's a fucking joke.
The Biden-Harris campaign and the dead end of lesser evil politics. The Democratic Party National Convention. Oh, by the way, plebs, get out.
So I want to take the time to thank the plebs, who are the non-subscribers of the non-amazing atheist podcast, Deep Fat Pride, on YouTube. Now, apparently the plebs are the intellectuals who have not decided to subscribe to this Marxist propaganda filth on Patreon. So I want you plebs to know that you are all awesome. You are all completely awesome. You are on Team Shapiro on this one. So here's a song I wrote for the plebs.
Oh, plebs, beautiful plebs, follow your friend Ben and follow Yahweh. Do not subscribe to communism. Conservative America loves you, plebs, plebby plebs.
Deep Fat Pride. Deep Fat Pride. Deep Fat Pride. Deep Fat Pride.